Hey there. It's Scripted Fear. If you're hearing this, it means you're probably lying in bed, maybe with the lights off, maybe thinking this is just another story to help you drift off to sleep. But I should warn you, some stories, they don't help you sleep. Some make you listen closer to the sounds in your room, the creaks in the floorboards, the slow, steady breathing that might not be yours. So get comfortable, tuck yourself in tight, but whatever you do, don't look under the bed. This is the breathing under my bed. I've always been the logical one, the person in the group who ruins ghost stories with facts and science. I never believed in monsters under the bed, or shadows in the closet, or those stupid urban legends people whisper about at sleepovers. I always thought fear was just a trick your mind plays when it's dark and quiet and your imagination fills in the blanks. I used to laugh at people who claimed they saw things at night. I used to tell them it's all in their head. And now, I can't even look at my bed without feeling like I'm going to throw up. It happened last night, and I haven't slept since. It was almost 3 in the morning. I remember because I checked my phone when I woke up, 2:47 a.m., glowing in pale blue letters on the screen. It wasn't the kind of wake up where something startles you or you hear a loud noise. It was weird, like my body just knew something was wrong. The kind of wrong you can't explain but your instincts won't shut up about. I laid there for a minute, staring at the ceiling, trying to shake it off. My parents were out of town visiting my aunt. I was alone in the house. Normally, that didn't bother me. I actually liked having the place to myself. But that night, something felt different. The air felt heavier, stale, like the room hadn't been aired out in weeks. The silence wasn't comforting either. It was the kind of silence that feels like it's holding its breath, waiting. I rolled onto my side, pulling the covers up higher. I figured maybe I was overthinking it. Maybe I just had one of those half-awake moments where your brain gets weird. But then, I heard it. At first, I thought I was imagining it. A faint, almost impossible to notice sound beneath me. A slow, ragged inhale, followed by a wet, rattling exhale. I lay there completely still, listening, straining my ears. There it was again, breathing. Not mine. I was holding my breath at that point. It was coming from under the bed. Every muscle in my body locked up. My heart pounded so loud I was sure it was echoing off the walls. I tried to tell myself it was nothing. Maybe the old pipes were making weird noises. Maybe the house was settling. But no, this wasn't pipes. This wasn't creaking wood. This was human breathing. Heavy, labored, sick-sounding. A sound like whoever was under there shouldn't be breathing at all. My first thought was that someone had broken in, that a stranger was hiding under my bed. But the doors were locked. The windows were locked. And besides, the breathing didn't sound right. It wasn't steady or normal. It was wrong. Wet, wheezing, like whoever it belonged to was broken inside. I wanted to move. I wanted to jump out of bed, flip on the lights, check everything. But I couldn't. I was frozen. My limbs refused to cooperate. All I could do was lay there and listen. Inhale, exhale, the sound of damaged lungs rasping from beneath me. I reached out with a shaky hand and grabbed my phone from the nightstand. The screen lit up the room with a soft, blue glow. My fingers hovered over the keypad. I thought about calling the cops. I thought about calling my parents. But what would I even say? That I thought I heard breathing under my bed? That I was too scared to look? They'd tell me it's nothing. That it's my imagination running wild. But it wasn't my imagination. I could still hear it. Inhale, exhale, faint, wet, raspy. I opened my camera, switched to the front-facing mode. My hand was trembling so bad I could barely keep the phone steady. Slowly, carefully, I tilted it down toward the edge of the bed. The screen showed my blanket, the carpet, the dark space under my bed. I squinted, trying to see in the grainy low-light image. At first, there was nothing but shadow. And then my heart almost stopped. Two pale, round, glassy eyes, wide open, staring directly at me from under the bed. They didn't blink. They didn't move. Just stared. For a second, my brain refused to process what I was seeing. It felt like a nightmare layered over reality. But it wasn't a nightmare. The eyes blinked. Slow, deliberate, alive. A cold sweat broke out across my entire body. My skin prickled with goosebumps. I didn't want to move. I didn't want to breathe. But somehow, I managed to clamp a hand over my mouth, swallowing down the screen clawing its way up my throat. I stayed like that, frozen, eyes locked on the phone screen, on those eyes staring back at me. The breathing grew louder. Inhale, exhale, wet, rattling, closer now. And then, the eyes disappeared. Gone. Swallowed by the darkness under the bed. But the breathing, it didn't stop. If anything, it was closer. Louder. Like it had crawled out from underneath. Like it was right beside me. I couldn't see anything, but I could feel it. The heavy, labored, breathing, hanging in the air just inches away from my face. And in that moment, I knew. I wasn't alone. I didn't dare move. I couldn't. The breathing was so close now I could feel it brushing against my skin, damp and uneven, like whoever, or whatever, it belonged to was struggling to stay alive. But it wasn't the kind of breathing you hear when someone's sick or exhausted. No, this was worse. It sounded wrong, like something pretending to be human but getting all the details just a little off. And that smell, it hit me all at once. Rotten, earthy, like wet leaves and old meat left to fester in the sun. My stomach lurched, but I couldn't make a sound. I squeezed my eyes shut, praying, actually praying, that I was still dreaming, that when I opened them, everything would be normal, that the breathing would stop. But it didn't. The mattress dipped behind me. I felt the weight shift. Slow, deliberate, like something was crawling up onto the bed. My heart was slamming so hard against my ribs I thought it might crack them. My mind raced. This isn't happening. This isn't real. It's impossible. But the weight pressed down firmer now, creeping up along the mattress toward my back. The covers pulled taut, stretching, as though invisible fingers were coiling around them, inch by inch. I couldn't take it anymore. I spun around, throwing the covers off, the phone clutched tight in my shaking hand. The room looked empty. No one was there. The bed was unwrinkled, untouched. The floor was bare. The closet door was shut. My bedroom door, that's when I saw it, wide open. I knew I closed it before going to bed. I always do. But now, it hung open, just slightly, enough for the hallway beyond to gape like a dark, yawning mouth. And that's when I noticed them. Footprints. Bare. Muddy. Leading from the foot of my bed, across the floor, and out into the hall. I stared at them, my brain struggling to keep up. They were wet, the kind of muddy you get from walking through soaked earth. Thick and black, but it hadn't rained in days. I live in the suburbs. There's no woods around my house. No dirt patches. And even if there were, how would someone get inside? The doors were locked. The windows were locked. Every entrance sealed. A sharp chill crawled down my spine. I forced myself to sit up fully, my legs dangling over the edge of the bed now. I didn't want to look underneath again, but I had to. I couldn't live with not knowing. Slowly, I bent forward, phone light aimed at the shadows beneath me. Empty. Nothing there. Just the worn carpet, a few stray socks, no eyes, no breathing. But the footprints were still there, and the bedroom door still ajar. For a few seconds, I sat frozen, staring at the hallway, every instinct inside me screaming to stay put. But curiosity, fear, stubbornness, they all collided in my chest until I couldn't help it. I stood up. My legs felt weak, like they barely belonged to me, but I moved toward the door, one unsteady step at a time. The hallway was pitch black. My phone's flashlight barely sliced through it. The muddy footprints led straight down the hall, disappearing around the corner toward the staircase. I should have called the police. I should have locked the door, hidden, done anything but what I did next. But I followed them, step after step, my heart pounding in my throat, the floor creaking under my weight. The house was utterly silent now, but somehow that made it worse. It was like the whole place was holding its breath again, waiting. I reached the stairs, peering down, more muddy footprints smeared across the hardwood, leading toward the front door. And standing there, at the bottom of the stairs, was a figure. I nearly dropped my phone. It was tall, impossibly thin, like its limbs had been stretched beyond what bones should allow. Its skin, or what I could see of it, was the same color as wet paper, pale, almost translucent. It wasn't wearing clothes, just hanging skin that sagged at places like it had been waterlogged for too long. And its face. Oh God, its face. Wide, unblinking eyes, those same eyes I saw under my bed, staring straight up at me. Its mouth hung open in an impossibly large grin, cracked lips peeling back to reveal small, jagged teeth, yellow and sharp, too many for a human mouth. It lifted one finger, long, bony, to its lips and whispered, low, guttural, broken. You shouldn't have looked. The words came out like air being forced through wet lungs, like it hadn't spoken in years, or maybe it wasn't used to speaking at all. I stumbled back, slamming the door shut, locking it, pushing my dresser against it with shaking hands. I scrambled to the window, yanked it open, but we're on the second floor, no escape. My phone. I grabbed it, called the cops, fingers slipping across the screen, nearly dropping it 3 times before I got through. I told them someone was in the house. I told them I was alone. They said they were sending someone immediately. I sat in the corner, knees pulled to my chest, eyes locked on the door, barely breathing, waiting. But the thing, it never came up the stairs. It never banged on the door. It never tried to break in. It just disappeared. When the police arrived 20 minutes later, they searched the entire house. Nothing. No footprints. No signs of forced entry. No creature. But in the corner of my room, pressed deep into the carpet, they found a handprint. Pale, damp, too large for any human hand. And the faintest, lingering sound, so quiet the cops didn't hear it. But I did. Breathing. You'd think after something like that, after seeing it, standing at the bottom of the stairs, after hearing those words rasp out of its mouth, after the cops came and turned my house upside down, that I'd feel safer. That it would all somehow make sense. That maybe they'd find some unhinged person hiding in the walls, or some sick prankster messing with me, or some rational explanation. But there wasn't one. The police couldn't find footprints. They couldn't find fingerprints. No broken windows. No forced locks. No signs that anyone or anything had ever been inside. But I knew better. I barely spoke while they searched. I couldn't. My mouth was dry, my mind running in 1,000 directions. They asked if I wanted to stay somewhere else for the night. A hotel. A friend's house. But what was the point? It wouldn't matter. Because that thing, it wasn't just in the house. It was under my bed. It was still there. I didn't sleep that night. Or the night after that. Or the one after. Every time I closed my eyes, I heard it. Faint, at first. Ragged. Wheezing. Like something dragging each breath through shattered lungs. It didn't matter where I was, on the couch, in the living room, even sitting in my car in the driveway. It always sounded close. Like it was right beneath me. Lurking. Waiting. I tried everything. I cleaned the house top to bottom. I called a locksmith, changed every lock, sealed every window. I even set up cameras. Motion detectors. I didn't care how crazy it looked. I just wanted proof. I wanted to know I wasn't losing my mind. The cameras never caught anything. But I still heard it. Every night. And sometimes I'd wake up and the door would be open again. Or muddy footprints would stain the carpet. Or the covers would be tugged half off my bed. It didn't matter how tightly I locked the doors, how many alarms I set. It always found a way. I stopped going to work. Stopped answering calls. My friends think I've lost it. Maybe I have. But they didn't see those eyes. They didn't hear that voice. You shouldn't have looked. I've been researching. Obsessively. Forums. Obscure blogs. Paranormal threads buried in the corners of the internet most people avoid. And that's where I found it, the stories. Hundreds of them. Different towns, different names, different faces, but always the same beginning. You wake up at 2:47 a.m. You feel like something's wrong. You hear breathing under the bed. And if you look, if you actually see it, it never leaves. They call it the breather. A thing that follows you once you notice it. A thing that hides in the cracks of your vision, the dark spaces beneath your bed, under your couch, your chair, your car seat. Anywhere there's a pocket of shadow beneath you. As long as you don't look, as long as you ignore it, it watches. It waits. But the second you see it, it's yours. Or maybe you're its. People who've seen it, they disappear. Some overnight. Some after weeks of no sleep, spiraling into paranoia. Others, they leave behind rooms torn apart from the inside, windows smashed, furniture flipped, and no trace of them. Just damp handprints. Muddy footprints. That smell. That rotten, earthy stench that clings to the walls. I've tried everything. I even tried sleeping standing up, thinking maybe if I never sat or laid down, it couldn't hide beneath me. But that didn't work either. The breathing just followed. In the walls. In the floor. Even when I left the house. Hotels. Friends' couches. Park benches. It was always there, beneath me, waiting. Last night was the worst. I was so exhausted I couldn't fight it anymore. I fell asleep in the armchair in the living room. Just for a few minutes. That's all it took. I woke up to the sound of breathing. Not faint this time. Loud. Wet. Right next to my ear. When I opened my eyes, I saw it again. Those glassy, pale eyes. That smile too wide for its face. its skin sagging and gray like it had been pulled from the bottom of a lake. It wasn't under the bed this time. It was crouched beside me, its face inches from mine, and that same finger, long, too many knuckles, pressed to its lips as it whispered, "You can't run." Then it was gone. But I know the truth now. It never leaves. No matter where I go, no matter what I do. And tonight, when I try to sleep, I'll hear it again. Inhale, exhale, right beneath me. And maybe this time, I won't wake up. I thought there was no worse feeling than knowing it never leaves. That no matter where I sleep, where I hide, where I run, the breather would always be there, lurking just out of sight, waiting beneath me. But I was wrong. There's something worse. It's when it starts getting inside. It began with the dreams. Or, I thought they were dreams. I'd close my eyes and drift, only to jolt awake to the feeling of something crawling beneath my skin. Tiny pinpricks, like insect legs scuttling just under the surface of my flesh. At first, I thought it was stress, lack of sleep, my body rebelling. But when I looked closer, I saw them. Bruises. Small, dark spots rising under my skin in the shape of fingers. Like something was reaching. From the inside, the breathing changed too. It wasn't just beneath me anymore. It was inside my head. Every breath I took, I could hear it, a second breath layered under mine. Slower, wet, labored, like my lungs didn't belong entirely to me anymore. I tried everything. Hospitals, scans, blood work. I told the doctors about the crawling sensations, the breathing, the marks. They chalked it up to sleep deprivation, anxiety, hallucinations. One handed me pills. Another handed me pamphlets. None of them listened. None of them believed. But I knew. I could feel it, deeper now, like it wasn't content with just lurking under the bed or the couch or the chair. It wanted in. And it was succeeding. The worst part? It's not just me anymore. I saw it last night. I wasn't home. I was at my sister's place, the first time I'd visited her in months. I thought maybe, just maybe, I could keep it from following me there. That I could protect her. I barely slept, but sometime around 3 a.m. I heard the breathing again. Faint, but there. I checked under the bed, the couch, the closets. Nothing. But when I passed by my sister's room, I stopped cold. Her bedroom door was cracked open, and through the gap, I saw it. Those eyes. Pale, wet, wide, peering out from beneath her bed. I didn't think. I slammed the door shut, locked it, shoved my shoulder against it as my sister shouted in confusion from inside. She didn't understand. How could she? She hadn't looked. But I had. And now it was inside her house, too. It spreads. That's what the forums never tell you. That once you see it, it doesn't just haunt you. It follows you. Infects everything you love. Everyone you know. The more you fight it, the deeper it burrows. It's not content with the shadows anymore. It wants under your skin, under your bed, under your life. And now, I can feel it moving inside me. It happens when I'm alone, quiet, half asleep. That slithering sensation beneath the surface. My reflection doesn't quite match anymore. Sometimes, just for a second, I swear the thing staring back at me isn't me. The eyes are wrong. The grin's too wide. The skin sags, hangs like it's rotting from the inside. And when I breathe, it's not just my breath filling the air. It's his. The breathers. I know where this is going. I've read the stories. The final steps. The disappearances. The ones they never find. But I finally understand why they vanish. They don't run. They don't get taken. They become it. I can feel the hunger now. The need to crawl into the empty spaces. Beneath the beds. The couches. The chairs. To wait and breathe. To whisper to the next poor soul, "You shouldn't have looked." It's already happening. My skin's loose. My teeth feel sharper. The bruises cover me like mold, creeping across my arms, my legs, my neck. I barely recognize myself. And worst of all, I don't want to fight it anymore. The darkness under the bed, the shadows beneath the chair, they aren't scary now. They feel like home. Tonight, when the clock hits 2:47 a.m., I won't be afraid. I'll be waiting, under your bed, breathing,